Miki Agrawal, welcome to the show.
So happy to be here.
You created a company that helps people clean their assholes. Why?
It's not just assholes, it's vaginas.
It's all of
too.
it.
It's all of it.
Why so?
I mean, don't you want a clean asshole?
It really does help.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, Yogi Bhajan says, dirty butt, dirty mind. Clean butt, clean mind. And so it is a point. It's so interesting that part of our body, the part of our body that receives pleasure, that creates babies, that literally removes all the toxins from your body, is a part of our body that's so neglected. We put all the creams, all the lotions, we clean our bodies, and the part of our body that does so much deep work for us, in service of us every day, we just wipe our butts disrespectfully with trees and just sit on fecal matter all day. That is, I can't think of a more important offering to ourselves than to be fully clean across the board.
I feel a lot of people embark on a business journey, and what they do is they look for the shiny objects and the things that look the greatest, and then they make their decisions and start their ideation process based on that. And you've kind of done a very different approach. You've kind of gone, you probably haven't thought this way specifically, be like, what's the most taboo idea? And let's just do that.
Actually, it just so happens that they're taboo, but that's not where it all began. For me, in my book, Do Cool Shit, I talk about the 3 questions I ask myself before starting any business. The first question is, what sucks in my world? The second question is, does it suck for a lot of people? And then the third question is, can I be passionate about this issue, cause, or community for a really long time? And so for me, what sucked in my world, my very first business is I opened New York City's first gluten-free farm-to-table pizza restaurant. In 2 weeks will mark my 20-year anniversary, which for a restaurant is a giant milestone.
Congratulations.
Most restaurants close in their first year. 95% of restaurants close in their first year. 85% of restaurants close in their second year, and we're 20 years in. And what was the question? You
embark on a journey with taboo ideas, but what you're explaining is they're not the reason.
Right. So what sucks in my world? Having stomach aches when I was, eating pizza. Every time I ate pizza, I would have stomach aches all the time. And I would just come home and just be bloated and gassy, and just, it sucked in my world. So that's why I opened the first gluten-free farm-to-table pizza restaurant. Having my period every single month. Every woman here can raise their hand and say, I've had a period accident at some point in my life that was messy. It was just, and it was a real challenging moment. I'm wearing my period-proof underwear right now, because I'm day 1 of my period and I don't have to worry about it. And so what sucked in my world? Having accidents all the time. What sucks in my world? Going to the bathroom without a bidet is just a disgusting, messy experience. With millions of people with GI issues, chronic UTIs, hemorrhoids, fissures, itching, all this stuff is caused by uncleanly, hygiene practices of using dry paper. Not to mention, one of the things my name in Japanese means 3 beautiful trees. And I've loved climbing trees my whole life. I loved, being amongst my Canadian maple trees. And, trees are the most ancient magical technology of our time. It takes in carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, and literally transforms it into oxygen for us to breathe. And here we are disrespectfully chopping them down and wiping our asses with them. You really think about it, it's so insane. Instead, you can use the absolute universal solvent, which is water, that cleans everything else in our lives, to properly clean down there. And so, what sucked in my world was having a dirty butthole, and creating Tushy was a solution to that, an affordable bidet that attaches to existing toilet, turns any toilet into bidet in less than 10 minutes, and all of a sudden you have a clean ass. And now literally millions of people say there's life before Tushy and life after Tushy. And I receive calls all the time from friends being like, every time I take a shit, I think of you. And I'm just like, oh, thank you, And then starting Hiro, my most recent project that I've launched literally a couple of months ago after 4.5 years of working on it was born after having my son Hiro. And, when you have a child, it's one of the greatest moments of your life. It's a true acupuncture point of change, going from maiden to mother or bachelor to father. It's like a real change of consciousness. And there's no going back, of course. And in that process of having the most miraculous being, I discover the massive amounts of waste that's created in the stream of having a baby, and discovered that, I was going through 20 diapers a day because my baby had such a sensitive bottom, and discovered that every single baby was going through 6,000 diapers that take 400 to 500 years to break down. Diapers, the number one household plastic waste item, number 3 waste item in landfill. It's like crazy. And they're made with, all the diapers until now are made with bleach, just full of dioxins, toxins, that, the line that goes from yellow to blue that tells you when to change your diaper. It's called a wetness indicator. That is not even allowed in adult cosmetics, let alone a baby diaper. So the fact that we're putting all this stuff to make, more money for these big diaper companies, it was like time to really shift that consciousness. So yeah, I'll pause there.
Yeah. So I think there's this interesting thing where you go, okay, is this a problem in my life? But then the next thing you mentioned is this a problem in others too?
Yeah.
And that's quite important, because if I'm thinking about it, the reason the first one's important is because the reason it's valuable for it to be a problem in your life is not only does it spark the interest of deep diving to see if it is a problem in other people's, but also the problem at hand so that you can actually solve it easier.
Right. And if it's only a problem with just you, then you're like a prima donna and like whatever. It's not a solution.
Yeah.
But if it sucks for you and it sucks for a lot of people, then you have a business, right? Every single 1 in 5 Americans are lactose intolerant, eat gluten-free. That's a market right there.
Mm-hmm.
Every single woman can raise their hand and say, I've had a period accident. That's every woman. Every person who understands that it's pretty gross to use dry paper, it's a huge market, right? And anyone ultimately, like the low-hanging fruit are those who have, chronic stuff going on, GI, and you have, like unclean poops, and then every parent who cares about the ecosystem they're leaving their child behind, it's a problem that sucks for them too, but they can't use reusable diapers. It's too messy. It's too painful. It's too frustrating. Or, and they don't have time. 66% of mothers today are either primary or co-breadwinners today. And so it's a real thing. And then, can I be passionate about this issue for a really long time is the third question. And that's the most important one to start a business and really scale it.
How can you be passionate about diapers?
I care. I'm so passionate about the global plastic crisis and leaving my kid behind with a cleaner planet than I left it. Right now, 91% of plastic is not even being recycled. It's put in our landfills, incinerated, put in our oceans, or mismanaged. And that mismanaged plastic is what literally ends up inside of our brains, in our bloodstreams, and in our reproductive organs, and now in babies' umbilical cords. And so we are ingesting up to a credit card of plastic a week now. And it's now literally affecting our lives and our bodies. And so now people must care. And so for me, diapers are the number one household plastic waste item, number 3 waste item in a landfill. If we solve this, we can solve, there's a stream forward that you can solve. And for me, because when you go from maiden to mother or bachelor to father, and because that is such a deep moment of transformation, we hopefully will inspire people to transform from, just a toxic individual consciousness or even a single family consciousness into the ecosystem consciousness. So as part of what we're doing at Hiro Diapers is that we are offering parents this new paradigm parenting program. So you can learn how to become an eco-forward parent leader starting from the moment you become a parent, and hopefully will continue on that path for the rest of your life. So for me, like that's why I'm going to be passionate about it for a really long time.
Yeah. And what you did there straight away is you dove a little bit deeper. I think people draw the line at diapers, there, right?
Right.
I'm not passionate about diapers. How can I do diapers for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
But tying it to something greater, which is the innovation in the diaper itself, is what the thing is you're passionate about. So the outcome that you're getting from creating this new way of diapers is the actual passion piece, and assigning to that. The reason I'm thinking about this is because when we're starting out in business, and if we're told to go with what we're passionate about, I might limit myself to, okay, I like fitness and I like horses.
Yeah.
That's all my area. but maybe there's something that's a little bit deeper that you are
For
passionate
sure.
about.
Well, I mean, for me, it's not just the diapers. It's the fact that we're harnessing fungi, friendly fungi, to break the diaper down. I mean, that's the mission, is tuning into nature consciousness and the fact that nature could heal nature. Nature has been literally regenerating for billions of years. I mean, fungi were brought to the world over 1 billion years ago, and over time, over 70 to 90 million years, figured out how to break down the carbon backbone of trees and dead animals and return it to the earth and turn it into soil. And the carbon backbone of plastic is very similar to the carbon backbone of trees. And so if fungi can break down trees, it can also break down plastic. Plastic comes from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels comes from dead trees and dead animals. So fungi can totally handle the carbon. So what we've done, I want to actually show you, is that we spent the last 4.5 years bringing together like the most talented, I call them the Ocean's 11 of mycoremediation, mycology, and we literally created version 1 of the first shelf-stable and scalable fungi that can break down plastic. This is the first time anyone has ever taken out of a lab and into a real-world use case. So, for example, when the baby poops into the diaper, here's the diaper. When the baby poops into the diaper, you just take one of these little fungi pouches, drop the whole thing in the diaper, you close and you throw in the trash. In a couple of weeks, those little fungi inside those pouches will wake up and start to grow. And our vision is for the diaper to be landfill biodegradable in under 12 months instead of 400 to 500 years that it currently takes to break a diaper down. So can I be passionate about that for the rest of my life? Fuck yeah.
That's so creative. I'd love to know, Miki. Take me back to younger Miki and who you were growing up and any memories that you had. And is there any connection there to the drives and the things that you're doing today?
Well, I grew up, in French Canada and in like Brossard, la rive sud de Montréal, the South Shore of Montreal, like to a very French Canadian town, and to a Japanese mother and an Indian father. And so my, dinner table was always a debate. It was always like, there was never like, oh, this is just the way it is, like the American way or the Australian way or the British way or the Indian way. It was like, oh, the Japanese have a perspective, the Indian have a perspective, the French have a perspective, the English have a perspective. Let's debate on these perspectives. And so there was never like, this is just the way. So there's always the question, like, is there a better way? What can there be a collaborative way? Is there, two truths here? Or is there deeper understanding? So I grew up like in healthy debate my whole life. So as I grew up and learned about was in the world and it was like, wow, like there's no way this is the way we're perioding. There's no way we're wiping our butts with dry paper. Are you kidding me? Like there's no way we're putting 100 billion diapers in landfills, enough to circle the earth 1,500 times per year. And that's the waste we're leaving our kids behind with. And that's now entering our brain's body. No. And so there must be a better way. And so I think, growing up, it's always been, like welcomed to challenge the status quo. And yeah.
Has there been, like, from your observation, is there key differences in the French Canadian culture than the more American culture and different places of the world?
I think the Canadian, I call Canada a mosaic of culture. Like it's like, imagine a mosaic of all the different cultures in one. I went to Japanese school on Saturday, Hindi school on Sunday, and French school Monday to Friday. So I went to school 7 days a week my whole life. And every culture was so welcomed. And growing up in Montreal for 5 years in high school, every single day, 5 days a week for 5 straight years, we took a course in Canada. It's a mandatory course called Moral and Religious Education, where you learn about every culture, every morality, every religion. So by the time you graduate high school, you understand Islam, you understand Buddhism, you understand Shintoism, you understand Christianity, you understand Judaism, you understand the way of life of all these different cultures. And so you're not just like othering. You're like, I don't know you. I'm scared of you. You're bad. It's like, oh, I understand Muhammad. I understand Buddha. I understand Hinduism. I understand all the gods, Krishna. I really understand everyone. And therefore, I have so much more understanding. And so there's this mosaic of culture. It's welcoming. Whereas I find the American culture is a bit more of a melting pot, where it's like, I'm American first. Which there's also pros to that too. It's like, we galvanize, we come together as a country, but it does kind of wash away some of the cultural pieces to it. It's like, when I went to Cornell, I remember meeting this girl, and she was half Indian, half white, and she's this beautiful woman. And I was just like, wow, you're so exotic. What are you? She's like, I'm American. I'm like, no, but like, what are you? And she's like, where are you? Where are you from? I'm from Ohio. And I was like, no, but like, you look exotic. Like, what's your exotic thing? And she was like, oh, my dad's from India, but I'm like, I'm American. And so it was I was just like, wow, like it was a stark difference from the Canadian mosaic and celebration of every part of it. Like, I'm proudly half Japanese and half Indian.
Yeah, perhaps there's a level of open-mindedness that you have by being able to be exposed to so much of it, as opposed to being brought up so one-dimensional, where you kind of become closed off to what else is out there and the other options, and you just kind of believe your way is the way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas maybe, for me, I grew up with no religion in my home or anything like this. And so it was all kind of a clean slate. And everyone that I'm meeting and hearing about, I get to like onboard it, and I'm quite actually grateful for that.
Yeah.
But I'm sensing what's cool about yours is not only was yours open-minded, but you actually learnt about it all. Whereas I'm just a little bit clueless. Like, I can reference things from the Bible and all of this stuff, but it's a different lens. Where did that leave you sit when it comes to religion? Because you learnt so much about so many different things. How do you feel about religion as a whole, and I guess its play on the world?
Yeah, I think there's a place for it. I think, if no one's watching, God's watching. I like that concept, because then people are we're naturally, I think humans are natural anarchists. And so if no one's watching, God's watching, there's at least some level of goodness that allows, you to stay a little bit more in line to like appropriate behavior in a way. I also think church is a gathering place. It's a community center. I think there's something really important about that. I think religion, as we all know, that's like power, money, when it gets to a place like any corporation, I don't subscribe to that. But if I was to subscribe to a religion, mine would be Buddhism, because it's a way of life, and it's search within thyself, or thou art the Buddha is its core principle. And it's like your God lives within you. And karma actually means action. So your actions dictate your destiny, your dharma. And so like where you end up actually is based on your karmic actions that you take every single moment of every day. And so I believe that our, the goddess or the gods we get to be sort of live through us. And it's not like some marionette being like, do this, but it's a way of life, a way of being. It's like can you enter a higher consciousness that allows you to, serve from that God consciousness? I find that to be really powerful and really beautiful, but I don't subscribe to like religion.
Yeah, I guess you're removing it from a specific, say, person, like, or name, like Jesus or whatever it might be, and actually taking the principle and the way of life and living and connection that maybe a certain religion has, which you were saying about Buddhism. Talk to me about the softness piece that's a massive part of your content and your messaging around building like a soft power, and it's like operating in kind of like a masculine world, but in a soft way. Can you elaborate a bit about the messaging and your thoughts around that approach?
Sure. Well, so soft power, it's like a nature framework. When you think about going into nature, what do you feel?
Calm.
Right.
Feel a bit more peace.
But then when there's a hurricane.
Yeah, so it's a bit more like unknown. I don't know.
Right. And so nature can just like, there's power, right? It's like if you go into an ocean and a wave can just envelop you and kill you like that. But we go into the ocean, we go into nature because it is that place of calm. It's that soft power. It's the gentle love. It's like the space where you get to feel deeply held. And you get to feel like the pouvoir, like the energy. It's like that, it's an effortless energy, right? And so when I tune into that construct, when it comes to building business, I feel like we've been in such an old paradigm of like, try hard, trauma scale, push your way, grind to the top, work 120 hours a week, override your body, like shove your way, like, that's old paradigm structure. And to me, I call that hard power. Soft power is this effortless nature paradigm. It's this collaborative, regenerative, sacred reciprocity. It is creative. It's, leaving room for receptivity versus just, trying. It's looking at seasonality. When you think about the seasons, it's not like during the winter, it's like nature's like, grow, it's like you rest. That's the time you know when to rest. At Tushy, we know that fourth quarter is when we make, 40% of our business is in during fourth quarter. People love gifting Tushy to their friends, And so because of that, we're not like just grinding all year. We've over a decade, we've learned the seasonality of our business. So we can rest in preparation. We know to tend to the soil, to like prepare for the fourth quarter, the previous quarters before, so that we can really harvest in the fourth quarter. So it's like really understanding seasons, understanding just how do you effortlessly move based on how nature intended it to, right? And so stepping a step back, I sat on the board of Conscious Capitalism for 5 years with John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods, with Kip Tindell, the founder of The Container Store, and all, the president of Hotels.com, like really, really epic leaders who have built conscious businesses through this framework called conscious capitalism. And this conscious capitalism framework is this stakeholder model. So there's a shareholder model, which is old paradigm. I call that the hard power paradigm, which is shareholder growth. Next quarter, what are we going to do to get to the next quarter growth? It's based on just pure shareholder growth. Whereas soft power, whereas conscious capitalism is based on the stakeholder model, where a shareholder is one of the key stakeholders, but then there's the customers, the employees, the suppliers, and the planet is a stakeholder. And it turns out that a conscious business outperforms a pure shareholder-led business by a factor of 10.5 to 1 over a 15-year period. So a conscious business performs 10 times better financially than an unconscious business. So like, why would you not care for every stakeholder than just the shareholders? It just doesn't make any sense. If your customers are supportive, if your employees are bought in, if your shareholders are into it, if the suppliers are also taken care of, and if nature wins too, it is a win-win-win-win-win model. I've built 2 9-figure companies this way, having raised very little money, because I have built my companies on this conscious capitalism framework where every stakeholder in my business has won across 2 industries. And I believe at Hiro as well, it's going to be an even bigger swing because of all the things I've learned. So you tack on, so there's conscious capitalism, and then you tack on what I call the soft power framework on top of conscious capitalism. And the soft power framework is an energetic framework. It's what was interesting when I was at Conscious Capitalism on the board, I was just witnessing these dudes bickering all the time, and I'm like, wow, like they're building a conscious model, but their energetics are still off. And I really, really believe that if you bring in energetics into the conscious, on top of conscious capitalism framework, which is this energetic framework I call soft power framework, I think you can 100x your impact and your return. And so this framework is really starting with attuning to yourself. It's an attunement framework. It starts by tuning to yourself, attuning to a 2-person dynamic, then within company, within community, and within nature. And it's this whole process. We can get into it at some point. But I touch into it, but it's really a attunement framework that teaches you how to energetically resource yourself, first yourself within 2 people, within company, within community, and then how to truly attune to nature. And that nature is that seasonality piece that makes it effortless.
Yeah, I like this lens. It's also got way more longevity than the just please the shareholders, because I guess that doesn't keep the cogs in motion and keep the wheels moving, because they're not the ones operating and they're not the ones buying. They're the ones earning. And so, but you need all of the other ones to work. So this makes a lot of sense. I guess there's this interesting pillar here where you mentioned it starts within and then you expand to the 2 people and then the team and the company and the community. this is tying in well to that passion piece that you said at the very start, how it's important to have passion, because if it's starting from within, like what the soul's telling you and what deep down is telling you is going to be what dictates the rest of it.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have this passion about you and you're trying to like push a boulder uphill just in hopes of like solving a problem or whatever it might be, or stroking your ego, whatever it is, like it's only going to get you so far.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And it's like, I always tell people, please don't start another t-shirt company. Like, please, actually do something of value to the world that is literally opening hearts, minds, at solving problems. People are like, well, I have so much passion living inside of me. Like, where do I begin? And I was like, just go to the Millennial Development Goals. Just start there. Go to the United Nations Millennial Development Goals and find all the key problems that exist on the planet and just find one that speaks to your heart and start solving there. And I tell you what, if you solve one of those problems, you will have outsized impact and outsized returns. Like you can do good and do well. It is absolutely possible. And I think so many people feel like they have to choose one. It's one of the reasons why I love launching Hiro Diapers as well, because people feel like they have to constantly compromise on something. High performing diaper, but not eco, or an eco diaper, but it sucks on performance. It's like, can there be a no compromise philosophy that actually supports, that's a high performing product, unbleached, up to 5 times drier than leading brands, absorbs up to 3 times faster than leading eco diapers. It is made with up to 50% less plastic than leading diapers. And it comes with these friendly fungi that are designed to break them down. Like, to me, that is a absolute no compromise solution. And to me, like, that is what's going to move people forward. Like, oh, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like, of course I'm going to do that. I'm stupid if I don't kind of vibes, where it's like, it's an inspirational, it's like, that's just better than I'm not trying to force you, but that's just it's just better.
I like it's not like they're weighing up the options. Why would you weigh up the options? If you can make it a no-brainer, then that means you'll probably win if you can do it in a good way.
It's like with Tushy, you're saving thousands of dollars of toilet paper money that you would have spent. You're cleaning your asshole properly. You're eliminating your ailments. You're saving millions of trees. You're like, and you feel sexy. Like, who doesn't want that, And it's like, how do you create a no compromise option that people are just like, duh, like this makes so much sense. Like, of course I don't want to put bleach on my baby for the first 1,000 days of their life and put this toxic blue line for the first 1,000 days of their life. That makes no sense. Like, why would I do that? And why would I leave my baby like with this much waste? 6,000 diapers in a lifetime makes zero sense. So, it's like, how do we deliver the problem in a very succinct, clear way that's repeatable, shareable, and obvious? And then how do you provide a solution that is repeatable, shareable, and obvious? Yeah.
And what's powerful about that frame is I think it's valuable to apply that to your whole life.
Yeah.
Like, remove it from business for a second and go, why would you try and design a life with compromise? Why do you have to have a structured life in order to send your kids to a private school? Why do you have to do this in sacrifice of that?
That's right.
Have it all.
Have it all.
Why not?
You can. And, and that is such a upper limiting mentality. Like, I have a saying that we've kind of adopted that started with my son's grandmother. It's like, better and better forever and ever. What if life could just keep getting better and better forever and ever? It's like, the answer is, fuck yeah, that's possible. Yeah, and does that mean that you're gonna have setbacks? Of course, you're gonna have setbacks. I've had endless setbacks and painful, moments in my life. But does that mean that my life is gonna keep getting better and better? Yes, because I learned and grew from those experiences. The painful, gut-wrenching things taught me so much how to expand my emotional capacity. So of course, I'm so grateful for those experiences as well.
Yeah, I like this approach. It's I think it's the most liberating one, because you don't feel like you have these limits. And even on top of that, even if you think you have a limit, most of the time it's actually just made up and imaginary. It's not real.
Yeah.
Like this idea of limiting yourself in so many ways, and you kind of have made up these beliefs, so you've been told them and you've just taken them as gospel, when in reality they actually are not real. Like, a lot of those things are not real.
It's like that saying, like, I want to skid to death's door sideways, not in a well-preserved body, thoroughly used up, loudly proclaiming, wow, what a life. And that includes like the bruises and the blood and the scars and the like that part. You want all of that because that's part of, the story of your life. Exactly. Like you want that.
Yeah. Yeah. He needs a bidet.
Yeah. Got you.
Oh, that's so great. I feel like there's things that I like about business, and some of the ones specifically is the application to life. The things you learn in pursuit of doing something that maybe hasn't been done before. The things you learn in pursuit of living in a state of creation where you're creating something. We were speaking about it on a conversation earlier today around how you can't be a victim and create at the same time.
Right.
And like,
right.
You can't, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no value in living in a state of being a victim.
For sure.
And so the way to eliminate that is just constantly create.
Yeah.
And business does that for you, especially business that gets you far, because you can copy someone blatantly and you can probably achieve some level of success, but you'll forever be behind them in that shadow.
Right.
And there won't ever be this feeling of like fullness and completion just copying someone else and hopping on a train.
Totally. And there's also like what I would always tune into when it comes to creativity is like everything on earth is made up. Every single thing has come from the earth and we've created the construct, taxes, a passport, lines that divide countries, like money, time. That's all made up. Like literally every single thing is made up. And so when you're like, oh, wow, all of that's made up. That means that I can keep reinventing and recreating and reimagining and repurposing and making something up new. Like that feels right to me. That feels in line with me. And so even as an example, like at Hiro, we really looked deeply at the reduce, reuse, recycle model, right? Like how many times have you heard reduce, reuse, recycle in your lifetime?
I've not heard it.
Reduce, reuse, recycle?
I mean, I've heard it a little bit, but I don't hear it very much.
Okay, well, it's like that reduce, reuse, recycle, like, you know, that the 3 thing with the arrows.
Yeah, like the green
yes,
thing
okay,
with the
it's
arrows.
coming
Coming to me now, yes.
Right. And it's like that whole thing is just a made up construct, right? And people are like, oh, reduce, reuse, recycle. Yeah, of course. Like we're doing, like that's the thing.
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, recycling is a joke. Like 91% of plastic is not actually being recycled, right? So it's like a complete bullshit made up construct that's not even working. And so how are we always reimagining these constructs? So we basically looked at it. We're like, oh no, we're going to rename it to reduce, regenerate. Reduce your consumption. We're going to teach you how to get out of diapers as fast as possible. As part of our product with Hiro, we're going to teach you elimination communication. We're going to get you out of diapers in 12 to 18 months instead of 4 or 5 years that most diaper companies want you to be in diapers. We're going to get you out of them as fast as possible. And regenerate. If you're going to use a product, use a regenerative product that comes with, as an example, that comes with fungi that are designed to break down diaper plastics, as an example, right? So like reimagining frameworks. Like when I started Thinx, like one of the constructs that we learned was like the buy one, give one. The Tom Shoes model was such a powerful framework, right? People are like, oh my God, buy one, give one, buy one, give one. Everyone was like starting to do that. But when we really looked at it, we were like, wow, like what a great ground place to start. But there's some flaws with it, because imagine if you were selling shoes in Uganda for like under the beating sun and working your ass off, and all of a sudden a bunch of free shoes arrive to your neighborhood. What happens to your business? It goes under. So actually, unfortunately, the idea was beautiful, but it created a welfare model, not an empowerment model. And so what we did was we didn't say, shame on you, Toms. We're like, congratulations for coming up with the construct. We looked at it, we studied it, we learned and grew from it, and we shifted it. We were like, let's actually change it and update it. And so I created a new model called Buy One, Fund One. So what we did was we looked at, all these different organizations in Uganda that one of them made washable cloth pads for Ugandan women at an affordable price. And so what we did was we decided to say, for every pair of underwear that we sell, we're going to fund this organization called AfroPads in Uganda that make washable cloth pads at an affordable price. And then they're going to be able to grow their business. So when we started working with them, they had 25 employees and they grew them to like over 100 employees, hundreds, I don't even know at this point, and they're able to sell them to local Ugandan women at an affordable price. So it's like, how do you then take constructs and reimagine them and reinvent them? At Tushy, we looked at different constructs for, how do you solve the global sanitation crisis? How do you serve, people 3.5 billion people who don't have access to clean toilets? And we looked at all these different projects that were solving the global sanitation crisis, but they were flawed models as well. Mm-hmm. They were building toilets that would become cesspools of infection too. And so we then found an organization that actually creates, brings the community in, and they build these toilets, and then they teach these local Indian village people the benefits of using this toilet. They're like, I'll give you minutes on your phone for free. I'll give you a bar of soap if you come and use this toilet. And over 6 months, when the community starts using that toilet, the kids are less sick. It starts to smell better. The neighborhood doesn't smell like shit everywhere. All of a sudden, the grandparents are not sick. People aren't getting dysentery. All of a sudden, the community realizes that using these toilets are actually serving their community in a much better way. So we funded this organization that are actually teaching people how to fish and not just giving them a fish and creating more of a welfare model. So it's like, how do you constantly look at stuff and say, is this the best way to do it? Or is there a better way to do it that we can then help create or bolster or support or fund, right? Like, it's ever changing, it's ever emerging. And that's what's so beautiful about this life, is that nothing is stagnant. It's all ever changing, right?
Yeah. You know what I like about you? I feel like you are wanting to help, but then you're also applying it to how the world goes around. There's so many people that want to help. For example, like, the farmers should be paid more, but then they complain when milk prices go up in the shops. And so it's like, I understand your view that you want the farmers to be paid more.
Right.
But understand how they get paid more is by increasing the price in the shop, because to be able to get it from the udder to be able to be milked, to then be pasteurized as they do, to then put it in a bottle, to then get it on a truck.
Right.
Or a plane, and then get it into the shop so that you don't have to go out to the farmer to go and get it yourself, costs money.
Right.
And so, like, if you want to be able to make the milk cheaper, but then the farmers get paid more, you're wanting a lie.
Exactly.
Right. And
same thing with, it's like, if you want the cheapest diaper in the market, don't get Hiro, because it's the best diaper on the market.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be affordable.
Yeah, and so I think that the value here, and what I love is, there's this nature of people that want to give, and while it's so amazing, and I'm so grateful for people, wanting to give everyone equal opportunity and help people out, but I think it's really important to have that intention, but apply it to how the world goes around, and then see if it's actually possible.
Yeah, I mean, look at my partner. I don't know where he went, but he started this really cool company called Dollar Donation Club, and the idea is like taking the power to the people instead of waiting for like a Jeff Bezos or someone to like donate millions of dollars towards causes. You can get like millions of people to give $1 a month. I mean, that idea of like literally empowering people instead of empowering just one person is a really interesting new construct, right? Like, we actually like, oh, wow, I can become a micro-philanthropist. That's a new interesting idea that I didn't think I could be. Like, I didn't think I can be a philanthropist with just $1 a month. That doesn't make any sense. But like, that's an example of how do you take something that's been like around for, hundreds of years, philanthropy, and actually break it down for people who didn't think they can be philanthropists, but then they can't.
Yeah. So I just like being able to apply it to life as you've done so well in this conversation so far, because I just think there's so many people that want something, but they actually don't ask that question deeper, like you've been doing today, and how you've been going, okay, I'm not passionate about diapers, but I'm passionate about the environment. Like, even just that, the pursuit of doing that is extremely productive, because I think there's not enough of that.
And it's about meeting people where they are, because that's the other piece. Like, it's really about meeting people where they are. Like, I am passionate about the environment, but let's be honest, most people don't buy to help the planet. They buy because it serves themselves.
Yeah.
And the whole vision is to create an ecosystem consciousness where people care more about the ecosystem they're leaving behind their children behind with versus just for themselves. Because at the end of the day, if you're leaving a shitty ecosystem with only 40 harvests left and more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2050, what the fuck's the point of having a child in the first place? And so it's like to really shift their consciousness is a really, really big part of this as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about women in business? And I'm fascinated to hear your lens because you've created so much success being a woman leader in business. There's an interesting, obviously, there's so many different lenses that get projected online. There's like the women empowerment lens. There's the but it's not as simple as that. It's like kind of an extreme projection where like they need to do that. They need to be independent. They need to go like this, even if maybe they don't want to. And then there's maybe the other far right where it's like, no, women can't work. And there's like all this confusion around like
Is it?
Women in the workforce.
Yeah.
And you know, I like this approach of tying it back into nature as well as you've been displaying, being able to just check in and not get too far away from nature like a lot of the media projects and is kind of the propaganda is pushing us further away from nature. But I like to check in, and whether you're a woman or a man, just seeing if what you're doing is actually serving you or is it serving what's being projected, and kind of checking in with yourself and doing a bit of an assessment.
Yeah.
How have you found being a woman in such a masculine industry?
Yeah. I mean, they're you know, like I don't like using gender bias or that kind of stuff as a kind of, again, a victim consciousness. That's not like what I've ever done from an outward kind of projection. And 2% of women are still getting invested in today, you know, and there is a thing where women are aggressive, and if a man's doing the same exact thing, they're considered assertive. And so there are some gender biases that still exist. I think that, you know, again, women got a right to vote 100 years ago. We're still kind of catching up to the system. And hopefully there's going to be a rebalancing that's happening. Like I have a son. I'm not trying to oppress men or boys. I love everyone. I think that there's a place for each part of the ecosystem. I think there is a deep yearning for women to feel taken care of, nurtured, loved on, supported by their masculine counterpart. I think the men want their women to be feminine and to be loving and to really tend to the home. There is that construct. And today, the honest truth is that 66% of women are primary or co-breadwinners. That's also that's a reality. And, you know, I would love to be barefoot and pregnant right now. And I also love being on mission. So it's like, can we have it all? But then can we set our life up in a way to be able to do all those things? I'm a mother to an 8-year-old who I love so much, and I want to spend deep quality time with him. I have, you know, my 2 projects that I'm deeply inspired by. I'm in partnership. I have a great community. And these are all pieces of my life that I want to take care of my body, my health. I really take that seriously. And so how do you manage all of that is by building an incredible ecosystem around you. I could never do any of this without all the support that I have. And a lot of people who are like, well, I don't have the money to start. You start. I didn't have support until I was able to get support over time. And you build that out. But now where I am, like I need that support to be able to manage all the pieces in my life. And I'm okay with that. So, you know, I also like, you know, like I tell my team all the time, the men on my team, I'm like, you're the masculine, you're the banks that hold the flowing river. I'm a flowing river. I'm a feminine that comes up with all the creativity. I need the structure from the masculine. That's what you're providing for me at this company. And so they feel like, you know, like I'm here in service of the feminine. And at the end of the day, like what is the role of the masculine is to serve the feminine. It's actually that role. Like what else is there to serve creation, to allow for creation to happen in the womb and then to proliferate your seed. And so like at the end of the day, when you really break it down, that's the role of the masculine, to serve the feminine so that your seed can continue. All the other power, that's genuinely, when you really break it down, it comes down to because I want to be loved. And so, and I want love. And like, why do you want power? Why do you want power? And at the end of the day, it's like, because I want people to love me and I want to be loved. And so, yeah, I think there's a real place for women in business today. I think the place is rebalancing this domination old paradigm, this structure of more equals better, into what does the ecosystem need? And I think the feminine, Mother Nature, leads that.
Yeah, what I'm sensing here as well is that there's an emphasis on passion-led business as well, especially for women. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is there this element of like you got to really make sure that you're passionate about the thing, because then you can actually be in pursuit of it, and you can like light up and kind of have something that you're like striving towards with passion behind it, and you're still making your decisions based on passion and desire, not a survival and need nature. Whereas if you're like operating solely from survival and need, like I need this thing to survive, that's coming from like a lacking of security maybe, and then perhaps that can be where it can be taxing, because you're trying to manage being a mother and being like calming and being helpful for your partner and all the thing, and there'd be so much pressure, and it'd be the hardest thing in the world just to even be a mum, let alone having to do all the rest.
Yeah.
So I feel like there would have to be an element of like extreme passion towards the thing to make it long lasting.
100%. My hat goes off to all the mothers who are working out there, and to all parents, like any people. It is not easy to build something, to grow something, and the passion is what drives you forward. And that's the third question. Can I be passionate about this issue, cause, or community for a really long time? What sucks in my world? Does it suck for a lot of people? Can I be passionate about this for a really long time? And it sounds like trite, like, can I be passionate? Like that's the whole thing. Are you all in? Like my team and I, we always are like, all in. Are you all in energy? Do you have all in energy? And it's like, we're all in. And it's like, we're all into this mission. Like, that's something that we're so deeply passionate about, is to be passionate about it,
Yeah.
So that's, it's critical. And I think, we're flawed beings. We're not perfect. And one of the things that in the ring of my, soft power framework is like going from pedestal to path. Like people oftentimes pedestalize leaders or pedestalize yourself or put yourself on the perfection. Like I have to be perfect in order but it's like you take that off the table and you're like, hey, I'm on a path of growth just like everyone else. I'm going to have good days. I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to have PMSy days. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be sleepless because my baby was sick and up all night and I don't know what to do. And I'm going to have challenging moments, and that's okay. And I'm going to come back to the mat passionately the next day and keep going. That's all we can do. But we're not going to be perfect along the way. Like we have to just take that off the table.
Yeah, and I feel passion, as a man looking at a woman, passion's so sexy. And it's so like, when we see, for me personally, when I see a woman's eyes light up with whatever they are doing, I love that. I think there's this passion element that I just think is so important.
Yeah.
And I think it without that,
it's an attraction. It's like, right?
And so that comes down to that like passion and desire nature of the particular business or whatever you're choosing to do with your life, whatever it is, whether it's business or it's whatever. I just think there's got to be this passion element, and that really unlocks a cool side of you, something to strive towards. Do you feel like there's an extreme level of pressure that you feel by trying to do so many things in your life?
Because I've taken myself off the pedestal and I'm imperfect by design, and I know that deeply, that there is pressure because, it's like I built 2 big companies, and now people are like, oh, Miki's in for the third. I'm investing. So I have like 150 investors who've invested, all my friends who've invested in this company. And they're like, so there's pressure, but I like pressure. Like, it's like when you're playing soccer, and it's like, I played soccer professionally. I played for, Division I in college, and I like, my butterflies in my stomach and my heart pounding. I feel the blood running through my veins and I feel alive. And I'm like, oh, like I'm building this not just for me, but for my friends and for the world and for my baby and for all the babies that follow. Like, fuck yeah, let's go. And so there's pressure that's good, and then there's pressure that becomes toxic. And I think you have to know where that line is. And I know that when when I get if I get overwhelmed, then I have a coach, I have someone to talk to, I have a group of people to talk to a lot, and I am able to just get it out. And that's critical. And I think that's why, like, when someone asks me what is the number one piece of advice for an entrepreneur, I say literally show up for your friends, build a friend group, because you're going to have hard times. It's going to be fucking lonely sometimes. And if you don't have friends who you can count on and just cry with and just be like, fuck, like, let's just go for a walk. This is hard. Like, that is my number for my whole life as an entrepreneur. That's my number one advice. Like, show up for your friends, go to the thing, like, continue to, express yourself, gather, spend time, because without your pocket of friends, like, you are going to have a lonely ride as an entrepreneur. So I always show up. Like, people know Rada and I, my twin sister and I, she started Daybreaker, the fucking best party on the planet. And it's not just a party, it's a movement. It's amazing. Sober dance party. She and I show up. And I think that's one of the reasons why people really trust us in community and, like, consider us anchors in community. Not because, like, we're organizing the parties, which we do organize a lot, but it's because we show up when it's hard. Like, people know that, like, I can always call Miki Agrawal if I have a win or if I have a loss. Like, there's someone that can hold me through it. Like, and I feel very, very proud of that as, like, my number one thing to be proud of.
How do you feel like you develop that? Because I feel like there's a difficulty of obtaining a view like that at times.
Yeah, I think it's, I was blessed to be born inside the womb with a twin sister. So I was born in community, but I just learned early on, Indians are community people, and, Japanese are also quite, like, gathery types, they're more single family, but still gather. I just grew up in community, and I just know and how much that served my ecosystem growing up, and how that made me feel safe, secure, like, able to go out and do the thing and have a place to fall. And I think, like, 40% of Americans can't name one person to confide in. And it's like, people are so fucking lonely right now. Like, the loneliness epidemic is, like, they say it's like twice as harmful as, like, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day by being lonely. Or, like, the stats are crazy. Go to my sister, like, Rada's Belong Center Instagram, and you'll see, like, the level, like, the loneliness pandemic is a very real pandemic globally. And so to be able to gather in home, to be able to show up for your friends, to cultivate your community, to really be there, to build friendships from the ground up, to actually say, hey, you want to get dinner? Hey, you want to play pickleball? Hey, you want to, FaceTime? Like, all my friends know Mickey's a FaceTime. Mickey FaceTime. They're like, if you love Mickey, FaceTime her. She knows. Like, so I have friends who FaceTime me all the time, and people are like, wow, you're always, like, but to me, like, that's critical part of my aliveness and my ability to keep going, because it fills me up. Yeah.
I feel that. I feel there's this element of loneliness. People are told that it's a must-have for the journey, and so they just end up putting themselves in lonely situations as well. But I mean, obviously, this aspect of loneliness being not feeling connected. That's probably why a Daybreaker event would work, because people are coming together on a similar mission, right? Or not maybe not similar mission, but at least, like, similar values. Mm-hmm. Whereas maybe so many of us are surrounded by people that we don't really feel like we get along with. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lack of connection, which leads to loneliness. It's not about the no people. Hey, it's not absence of people. It's like absence of, like, feeling connected to others. Mm-hmm. And community.
Yeah.
Even community as a term itself, community isn't just like, let's build community. No, let's do something that's going to attract people that have similar interests, and a byproduct of that is community. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
It's not like, you can't just click your fingers and build community.
Right. You have to have shared interests. Yeah.
Yeah. And so even just applying that thing is, you lack community in your life. It's actually not about the people. It's about the interests that are shared.
Yeah, exactly. And for example, like, I started hosting music nights like at my house, or I started hosting just different nights. We hosted this, kind of Jeffersonian style dinner or kind of hang where I had like 40 people come to my house, and I had this guy Byron Reese, who wrote the seminal book on utopia, come and just give a lecture. We had a discussion amongst a bunch of friends, and then I had music nights where I have a bunch of amazing friend musicians come and set up their whole music thing, and we just jam. And it's like, they're like so nourishing for everyone, because it's like a time to gather. Like tomorrow I'm going to this, my friend Jess does this thing called Soul Salon in Austin, and they're so just nourishing nights where friends just singing, kirtan, like, laughing. There's like a featured preacher that just shares something, and it's just fun, but in community, and it's like a connected experience. It's not just like going to party and drinking and just being like, hey, like who's gonna whatever. It's like actually like you're in it, you're engaged, you're like seen, you're held, you're loved, and it's a different feeling when you leave and you feel connected, and that's the feeling that we're all after in the end. Yeah.
Do you feel like your drive in your life has changed? The motives have changed over time? Like, for example, I mean, say people might start a business initially because financially they want to change their life and their ability to be able to operate in the world. Maybe they want to have a bit more freedom of being able to make their decisions based on desire, not how much things cost. And so maybe they strive to make more money, and that's like the initial reason to embark on a journey in business. But then as you succeed and have so many great success stories, you still decide to keep going and start new brands and keep the mission alive. Has the motives and incentives and drives changed over time, or has it been quite similar?
Very good question. Beautiful question. Yes, they have. When I it's like what your definition of success changes over time. My definition of success when I was first starting was like freedom of money, like financial freedom, like just get me financially free and I can just take a breath. So that was my first definition of success. My second definition of success was freedom of time. Like, can I do what I want when I want? I love farting horses. Success. That's success.
There's so many farting
just
horses
when you're
in the background.
When you're so relaxed, you can just fart whenever.
There's something so crazy about the fact that there's all these big horses in the background.
It's so funny because I let out I was at the office and I like went to the bathroom and I'm just, you have like before you get your period, sometimes you like get gassy, and I just like let out like the longest, like that, but like for like 30 seconds long. And there's a woman in the stall next to me and I just started laughing. I was just like, I can't believe it keeps going. Like, I'm sorry.
I wish the microphones would pick that up. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was really funny. But what were we talking about just now?
We're talking about motives changing.
Right. Yeah. So like definition of success, like, financial freedom, then freedom of time, like being able to, to be able to go where I want, when I want, like that became super important to me. And now it's just freedom. And freedom to create what I want to create, when I want to create it, bring in the teams that I want to create with, like being able to have an idea and just like, I made a music album, right? Like a couple of years ago. And I was just like, I'm gonna make an album. It's on Spotify now under the moniker Soul Gaze. Check it out. And I'm just like, I want to write books. I wrote a couple of books. I want to, it's like, I want to, have a little home art project. And so I made a little, like whatever. So it's like, there's now for me, it's just freedom. Like what can I be free to create? So like, and where is it coming from? And I think like I said, there was a proving energy for a long time, like proving my worthiness of love. Like if I can make it, then I'll be loved, And now it's like, I don't need to prove myself. Like I am lovable. Like I know that to be true within myself. And from that place of love, like what do I want to create? Like I want to create something that serves the next generation and beyond, and the planet, our great mother who just gives and gives and gives and gives, and we just take and take and take and take. Like how can we just offer something back while still serving mothers and parents who are busy? How can we meet people where they are and serve the planet? How can we honor the entire ecosystem in a way that really feels good for everyone? So that to me is like for what's interesting. Like Harvard Business School wrote a case study on Thinx, my first company. It's so cool. Like all these business school students are studying my period underwear company. It's like fucking awesome. And like, right. And then like now I want Harvard Business School to make a case study on how we built Hiro. We built it. We launched the company as a prayer. We literally had like indigenous leaders from the Amazon rainforest. We had spiritual teachers from the banks of the Ganga River. And in India, we had the Mayan grandmother. We had all these people come and pray upon the seed of where we created this business from, this project from. It's coming from a prayer. Like that's how we're cultivating this project from. And like to me, like I can do that. I can do that for a long time. Like I don't need to be like, oh my God, I'm stressing out next quarter. Like that's not how we're creating it is like the most interesting thing for me. Like what's emergent, how things are emerging, and then how we're cultivating what's emerging.
Well, what do you think is the key thing that gravitates people towards you? You mentioned you have 150 friends, family, and fools. Is what they used to call it back in the day when I first got investors on my first startup. Was reach out to the friends, families, and fools first that invest in you, and then branch out. But more specifically, what do you?
We
think?
did 60x our initial investors' money from Thinx. So
wow, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
Congrats. Yeah. What do you think is the thing that gravitates people towards you? Getting all these people interested in you. Having something about you. I have a bit of an idea on what I think it is, but what do you think
What do you think it is?
Well, I would love to hear yours first, but
no, I want to hear yours first.
Well, I think the superpower that you have is there's conviction and there's passion. And so when you tie conviction and passion together, it radiates something that people want to be a part of, because so many people lack passion and conviction. And so when you can see that you have passion about what you're talking about, and then you're convicted in it, like it's going to happen. This is why we're doing it. It's a no-brainer. Why would you buy anything else, right? And when you can like truly know that like what the words that are leaving your mouth are fueled with conviction and passion, it just makes people go, I'm in, let's go. That's what I think, but I'm curious to know what you think one of your superpowers is that does make people feel drawn to you.
I mean, I think it is the passion. I think people love passionate people, but I also do believe like what we're creating is of value to people on the planet. Like I really know that to be true. And I think that there's something like, when there's a knowing and a truth, there's like, oh, like I can rest in the knowing. Like there's a restfulness when there's like someone who's so passionate, has a knowing of like, this is true, then you can rest in that knowing, right? You can relax into that.
There's trust.
There's trust and there's relaxation into that. I would sometimes like to rest in a knowing, like that's, because I'm usually, like oftentimes one who's so passionate and others can rest in the knowing. Whereas like I'm ready to like rest in knowing too, in some ways. But yeah, I think that there's that. Like I really I know that what we've created is the best option for people on the planet because we've worked so fucking hard to make it happen. So, and I really believe in my people. I really believe in my friends. Like if you ask any one of my friends what my sister and I do for them is like we're their number one cheerleaders. Like we're cheerleaders for the people we love. And they're like, because you believe in me, like I believe in myself more. Like the fact that you believe in me so much, like I've heard that like hundreds of times at this point across my last, my entire life. They're like, you can like, oh, you can see that in me. Like I now believe in myself even more. And I think it's just like, it's not just like, I'm passionate about what I'm working on. I'm very passionate about what my people are working on too. And they feel like my passion for them, and then they then get fueled by it too. So it's like a ever expanding, and I'm genuinely like I'm real about it. And if I feel convicted about why I think it should be better or should be different or should be whatever, then they feel the passion for my genuine interest in how to improve what they're working on too. Like I'm passionate about them improving too. And sometimes it comes with tough love, knows that. And you know, and oftentimes it comes with like a fucking cheerleader that has your back and your front always. So
yeah, I think there's this nature of the more you embark on the journey, fueled by passion, the more passionate you become because you get clearer on why you're here. And that's the magic, because you can tell that you've been operating from the soul-led version of you for a longer time, because the more we can access that and then like lead with that and then just expand the time horizon of operating in that lens, you're so convicted because you know that you're on the right path. You know that you're on the path that you're meant to be. And it's that confidence piece where I know who I am and I'm okay if you don't. And when you can show up in that way, everything just falls into place because like you just have this trust that I have done the thing that I think is best for me in the world. And if it doesn't work out, at least I did that and I meant that, and it was with the best intentions and it was calculated, and I think that it was going to work. And so like,
but I won't stop until, because it is the best.
Yeah.
And so I just have to make sure people know that.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, I'm just not going to stop until you know that using a Tushy is better than wiping with dry paper. Like you're going to know why using a Hiro diaper is better than using a shitty conventional diaper that's got more plastic and more shit in it and ends up in landfills for 400 years. Like I'm going to tell you a million times over and again until you're like, okay, I'm going to try it. And you're like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's not even just like, it's just that like there is like part of passion. There is it's a practice, you know, and it's a relentless pursuit in your dream and your vision to be, like Rick Rubin said, art isn't art unless it's experienced by others, right? And it's until it's felt by others. And to me, like the job of an artist is to also like share the art over and over and over again until you're like, oh yeah, I get it. And so, yeah, I do. Like, yeah, anyways.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to piece together a cool way to frame this. But so when you start out, there's probably going to be a level of delusion because you've not yet created the thing and brought it to life.
Right.
So
totally.
In that point, when you're starting out in the early stages of the creation phase, it's not actually a physical thing yet, or it's not even it's not even a formed thing.
Right.
It's an idea.
Yeah.
And so in that state, you still need to have the conviction and the passion about the thing, or else no one's going to buy into it.
Right.
But you then have to go and make it. Right. And then through the pursuit of making it, you then make it. And not only are you passionate and convicted about it, but you're so sure of it, like you were before, even though you might have had to like act it a little bit and believe it in yourself, but like show up in a way that it's already happened. But now that it's happened, you don't really care if no one buys into it because it's there. So it is the best.
Right.
But there's this phase prior to that, before that's come to life, and you don't really know how it's coming to life yet, that you need to have this passion and conviction, but the underlying thing is delusion, because you're like, this isn't yet a thing, and I need to make it a thing.
Right. And then to me, the artistry is how you make it a thing. Like that's the artistry. It's like, how do you bring people into this new way of being, and this new idea? Like, how do you? To me, it's through art, and it's through accessible, relatable language, like you're texting your best friend. It's through a best-in-class product. It's through trustworthy integrity, like to me, like over and over again, you're delivering art, you're delivering like that moved me. Like that, if you go to HiroDiapers.com, like it's like unlike any diaper website. Like compare that to any diaper website, and you're gonna be like, this is not a diaper website, this is an art piece, And so it's like it's that, like to me, like don't put anything out unless it's an art piece. And I've always believed that to be true. And it works because people do get moved to potentially open their heart to maybe transform. And then you hit them, you deliver like a funny message like you texting your best friend, and then their heart opens more. Like, oh, you're talking to me. I feel like related. I feel like you're talking to me. You're not
pedestal.
You're not like talking at me. You're not trying to say the perfect thing, but you're just saying what's you're saying. And I feel your authenticity. And so that opens my heart a little more to make me lean in a little bit more. And then I'm like, oh, that art and that the way you talk to me, I feel like I know you. I feel like I can trust you. And I'm going to now try it, you know? And so, yeah.
I love this. I want to commend you. I think there's something so cool about the energy and the, as I said before, the passion, conviction. I think a lot of people lack that. And yeah, you're radiating it, and I can see why. Like success is no fluke. I think you can see, and it makes so much sense. And I just want to commend you for everything that you've done and how amazing everything that you're becoming, and also just everything that you're building. So good on you for everything.
I mean, there's so many failures along the way, and thank you.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
I think they're the comparison points. They're all the things that like make it worthwhile. Imagine it being smooth sailing. Not only would it not be fulfilling because it was just but then also everyone would embark on the journey knowing that success was guaranteed, and so none of it would even be worthwhile.
Right.
So like those failures are so great.
Yeah.
And obviously we didn't touch on any of the failures, but I think that's a given a lot of the time.
It's a given.
And yeah, you're awesome. Is there anything you want to share before we wrap up?
I mean, if you're an expecting mother or a father, or you have friends who are expecting, like, this is a moment, this is an acupuncture point of change to really help transform people by taking one inspired action to a new paradigm of consciousness. And I want everyone listening to support Hiro and what we're creating here, Hiro, pronounced hero, and to really see the value in what we're co-creating, and you get to be part of it, be on this hero's journey with us. Like, it is just the start. And I want as many people on this hero's journey with us, because it takes every single person's inspired action to truly make a difference. And so that is why I came here tonight, and to, meet you. And thank you so much for the space to share. And I look forward to becoming friends and to celebrate and champion you.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'm going to leave Hiro's website in the show notes in the description below. Please go and buy some diapers. That's so cool. And yeah, you're amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to sign out. If you've made it to the end, please screenshot this and tag Miki and I in in your Instagram stories, just to let us know you made it to the end.
And you can also, if you want to learn more about soft power, go to @Miki Agrawal. If you want a clean butt, go to Hello Tushy.
I'll leave it all in there for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miki. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.